Are you feeling burned out at work? During the financial crisis, companies held back on hiring, asking existing staff to do more with less. But nearly a decade on, this appears to have become a permanent fixture for many workplaces, and widespread burnout now has some companies scrambling for fixes.
Found 74% of operators and supervisors report staff burnout, anxiety, and fatigue at their call centers.
This means that more than double the percent of today's young people are reporting feeling overwhelmed compared to the same age young people in 1984. Even worse, lots of other research has found increases in mental health symptoms like depression and anxiety.
Andrew, I chose you for a reason. Lead these people. Show me the best numbers this place has ever seen. Last quarter, we saw 4% growth. Double it.
You got it.
Double.
Done.
I'm not kidding.
Neither am I. It's already done.
I'm just kidding. It's going to take some time.
Double.
You wake up already tired, not physically tired, that deeper kind of tired. The kind where your brain is already running through the checklist before your feet even touch the floor. Emails, messages, deadlines, meetings, tasks that were urgent yesterday and are somehow still urgent today. And the strangest part, everyone tells you the same thing. Manage your time better. Set boundaries. Take care of yourself. But what if the problem isn't you? What if burnout isn't a personal failure? What if it is the expected outcome of how modern work is designed? Welcome back to Beyond Surface Level. We're going beneath the surface to look at something uncomfortable, because burnout might not be an accident. It might be the system working exactly as intended. So let's clock in. Walk into almost any modern workplace and you'll see the same thing. Numbers, metrics, dashboards, KPIs, performance trackers. Your work is broken down into measurable units. How many calls? How many tickets? How many sales? How fast did you respond? How fast did you resolve? Every task becomes data. And once work becomes data, something important happens. It can be optimized. Managers can track output in real time. Software can monitor performance constantly. And suddenly, work stops being about doing a job well. It becomes about hitting the number. Not, did you help the customer, but how long did the call take? Not, did the patient feel supported, but how many cases were completed today? When productivity becomes numbers on a screen, the pressure becomes invisible, but constant, because dashboards never sleep. There's a phrase companies love to use: efficiency. It sounds positive, smart, strategic, innovative. But behind the scenes, efficiency often means something much simpler. Lean staffing, which is corporate language for this. How many few people can we hire while still keeping things running? Over the past few decades, companies have aggressively optimized staffing models. Instead of building teams with extra capacity, they build teams that operate right at the breaking point. Just enough people to function, but not enough to absorb disruption. So when someone calls off, when demand spikes, when a project expands, the extra work doesn't disappear. It just moves on to everyone else. And slowly, over time, that pressure becomes normal. You stop noticing the overload because the system is designed so that everyone is overloaded. Technology was supposed to make work easier. Instead, it made work measurable in ways that were never possible before. Every click, every response time, every task completed, algorithms now track productivity across entire organizations. And once something can be measured, it can be optimized, which means the target never stops moving. If your team handled 50 cases last quarter, leadership will ask, can we do 60? If response time averages at 12 minutes, the next goal becomes 10 minutes. If output improves by 20%, the new expectation quietly becomes the baseline. This is called productivity creep.
Scope creep, also known as requirement creep, refers how a project requirements tend to increase over a project life cycle. For example, you might want to develop a mobile application with 3 features, but by the end of the development, there are 7 features. Needless to say that instead of developing it in planned 3 months, it ended up taking 1 year, and I know exactly how it feels.
Where improvements don't create breathing room, they create higher expectations. So the system tightens again and again and again until the pace that once felt intense becomes the new definition of normal. For most of human history, work had clear boundaries. You worked during the day, then you stopped. But smartphones erased that line. Now work lives in your pocket. Emails arrive at night, messages appear during dinner, notifications buzz on weekends. Even if your job technically ends at 5 p.m., your brain doesn't, because the system quietly expects availability. Quick responses become professionalism, delayed replies become concern, and slowly, employees begin carrying work with them everywhere.
Well, our jobs can keep many of us glued to our smartphones, even when we are officially off the clock. The issue is at the center of a lawsuit and possible legislation regarding overtime pay.
In a Pew Research poll, 39% of workers say smartphones have made their working hours more flexible, but 35% say they're also putting in longer hours.
Not because someone explicitly demanded it, but because the culture rewards the people who do. Over time, this creates something dangerous. A workforce that is mentally at work even when they're not being paid to work, and the brain never gets the chance to fully recover. There's another quiet shift happening inside modern workplaces. Jobs rarely stay the same. New responsibilities slowly get added. A new software platform, a new reporting requirement, a new workflow, a new compliance task. Individually, none of these changes feel massive, but they accumulate. What started as one role slowly becomes 5 smaller roles stacked together. And because these additions happen gradually, they're rarely questioned. They're framed as growth, opportunities, part of the evolving role. But the workload keeps expanding while the time to complete it stays the same. So employees compensate the only way they can. Working faster, skipping the breaks, multitasking constantly, staying late, taking the work home, until exhaustion becomes routine. When people burn out, the story we're often told is simple. You worked too hard. You didn't set your boundaries. You didn't manage stress well enough. But zoom out for a moment across industries, across countries, across millions of workers, burnout keeps rising. That's not an individual problem. That's a pattern. And patterns usually point to design. A system built around constant measurement, lean staffing, continuous optimization, unlimited connectivity, and expanding workloads, all of it pushing productivity higher year after year. Burnout isn't random. It's what happens when human limits collide with systems designed for endless output. The real question isn't, why are so many people burning out? The real question is, why are we surprised? If you've ever felt that constant pressure, the feeling that no matter how much you accomplish, it's never enough, that doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're human inside a system that often forgets humans have limits. And understanding that difference matters. Because when we recognize that burnout isn't just personal, we can start asking bigger questions about the systems we work inside, about the expectations we've normalized, and about the kind of work culture we actually want to build moving forward. Because if the system created the exhaustion, then the system can also be redesigned. And that conversation is long overdue. Thank you for watching Beyond Surface Level, and I'll see you next Sunday. Much love.